Good evening and welcome to this session of the live learning classes conducted by the Board of Studies of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I'm so happy to be here today and to take up a new topic, about which I will discuss shortly. In the meantime, let's see who's here, who's logged on. I'm sure there are a lot of people who have logged on, but I get to see only those people who are posting on the query pad. So we have here Ritik ji, welcome sir, Komal, Aisha, Rajni ji, Sudhanshu, Diksha, Rushita, Bhumika, and she is asking a question on that I'll answer that. Darshan, Vanakkam. Vanakkam. Good. So Vanakkam is basically Namaste in Tamil, which is what Darshan has put. Thank you very much. Now, Vishwanath Reddy, welcome. Sir, Farah, Said, Manisha, welcome. Now, Bhumika wants to know if there is any limit on borrowings through debentures under Section 71. The answer is no, absolutely no limit. In sense, there is no debt to equity limit and all. It's not as if you have to restrict yourself for anything. But then, if you're going to go for an issue of debentures, you'll have to have a credit rating. You should have a credit rating. And when a credit rating company is going to evaluate you, they would definitely look at the debt is to equity ratio. So if you're going to be highly leveraged, but that's again, there's no statute. Okay, to answer your question honestly, there is no statutory limit on what you can borrow on debentures. But otherwise there are conditions banks may put, or if you're going public issue of debentures, then Crystal, you got to get a rating. So any rating would definitely involve evaluation of your debt is to equity ratio, which is conventionally 2:1. 2:1. Okay, lower the better is the logic. But then again, you cannot be without debt also. Companies need to borrow. So you should strike a balance. And that is something totally different from statute. Statutorily, there is no limit. So the topic on debentures actually naturally would take us into charges, registration of charges. It's a nice topic. And the word charge is a special word that needs to be defined. So without much ado, I need to jump into the topic because all along we discussed subjects that you have come across in your college or your schooling, commerce group and all that stuff. So when I talked about share capital or debentures or prospectus to an extent, you understood what I'm talking about. For the first time, you're getting into a topic that's purely, shall we say, very legal and connected with debt. So a charge is created when a company offers any asset as a security. Okay. Under the Companies Act, these charges created by the company are compulsorily registrable. So that is why this topic is called registration of charges. Right. It's contained in Chapter 6 of the Companies Act. And of course, the corresponding rules are also there. Companies Registration of Charges Rules 2014. So we are going to talk about the meaning of charge, which is very important. You may take a little trouble to understand it. Kindly take some time to understand it. If you don't understand it, I will explain it to you also because this is a purely legal topic. Okay, I'll explain it to you, no problem. And as I told you, there is a duty, a compulsion to register charge. Why this compulsion is there, I will explain to you. Now that you are well aware of the principles of company law, the practice of company law, you are also familiar now, I hope, with the principles of company law. Therefore, you will appreciate why the law creates a duty to register, compulsion. Why? We will discuss that. Then, of course, how the charges to be registered, etc., etc. What happens if there is a modification, etc., etc. These are the nitty-gritties. Once you get the principle thought clear, it is simple. So we have 77, 78, 80. Then satisfaction of charge. Satisfaction means payment. When you satisfy a debt, it means you have paid or somehow you have satisfied that creditor. How you did it is God only knows. What happens when there is a satisfaction? Then as usual, and nothing new for the Companies Act, in case there is any default in whatever duty, there will be a penalty. So fairly simple, na? 77, 78, 80, 82, 83, 86, and 87. Fairly simple. Now this is something you have to concentrate. Okay, Keshavji, we are always happy to have you here. And one more good student, one of my regulars is logging in, Jaspreet Kaur. Welcome, madam. Jaspreet Kaur ji. So we have, what is a charge? Again, I will mention it clearly. The company has properties, assets. Now, when you want to borrow money, obviously the person who is lending money to you would want a security. Yes or no? Correct. You will ask now. As I gave the example the other day for debentures, when I said I wanted to borrow 2,000 rupees, obviously to my students, however much they love me, or maybe they don't love me, at least they respect me, whatever it is they feel towards me, a hard-headed businessman or an accountant would clearly say, my dear friend, I will give you 2,000 bucks, but what is the security? So whenever somebody lends, they will generally ask for security, right? Okay, if they're giving unsecured, that is their risk. So whenever a secured creditor comes into the picture, he will say, identify a specific property for me and earmark it for me, so that in case you are unable to repay the debt, you means company, in case the company is unable to repay the debt, or there is a winding up of the company, then that secured creditor has the right to sell that property. That specific secured creditor for whom an asset has been earmarked, charged, has the right to sell that property. Whatever he is getting. See, if that property is worth more than his loan, break the champagne, enjoy. Whatever is left over, give it to the liquidator and run away. Your job is over, you are happy, go. But suppose the property is sold and the amount is not equal to the amount borrowed by, lent by you. It's a bad luck, but the entire amount will come to you. Then for the balance amount, this is where you have to listen to me carefully. The balance amount will not be written off. The balance amount is still due, but you don't have a security for that. So what you have to do? You should join the unsecured creditors queue. I'll come to this queue a little bit later. So you will become the lender will become an unsecured creditor to the extent of the amount not realized from the security. So this is a great protection for the creditor. But then this chapter is not about that. It is about protecting the creditor, but more importantly, it is about protecting everybody who wants to deal with a company. It is about protecting everybody who wants to deal with a company. Now, so a charge is an interest or a lien. Lien means a right. Please understand, lien, L-I-N, is a right to retain possession of property. Lien. Interest means a right to deal with property. So when you give a loan against my house property and I give a charge, I give it as a security. Obviously, if it is a immovable property, you will register a mortgage deed. That is totally different. The deed, the mortgage deed is the instrument creating the charge, which will be registered with the sub-registrar because it is an immovable property under the Registration Act. Please understand, mortgage deed is prepared for immovable property because it's land and building. You have to register the mortgage under the Registration Act and the Transfer of Property Act and the Stamp Act with this government. That is one thing. In addition to that, along with that, you should also register the charge with the Registrar of Companies. For example, when you buy a car, the company buys the car. We are always talking about a company. Company buys a car or a whatever vehicle, whatever machinery for which they are giving us, that machinery is offered as security. There you might call it hypothecation, agreement of hypothecation. Whatever you call it, by whatever document you create the charge, that secured creditor gets the right to sell the property and recover his loan. That document, when it is there, it is to be a charge. A charge is created on the property or assets of a company or on any of its undertakings. See, undertaking is a bigger word. We saw now the complete land, building, factory, the complete manufacturing facility. So if you got a cement plant that entire cement plant becomes your undertaking. Whereas the land alone, that is an asset. Whereas an entire cement plant with all the assets, etc., capable of manufacturing cement becomes an undertaking. Now, the word mortgage is a technical term. Listen to me, Mayur. I won't tell this again. Listen to me. When an immovable property, what are the immovable property? Land, building, am I correct? Etc. Anything that is fixed to the ground, immovable. So immovable property is offered as a security. Okay, when you're offering an immovable property as a security, you are set to create a mortgage on that property. You're off. See, when you give jewelry to the pawnbroker for borrowing, you are creating a pledge, man. Am I correct? Pledge is a charge on movable goods. When the jewelry is given to him, instead he gives you a loan for that. Same way you give shares, so the DP account is locked, so that will be marked as lien, and you cannot sell that share till you repay the loan. Now, same way, when you offer immovable property in India, such a activity of offering an immovable property as security is called creating a mortgage. That is compulsorily registrable under the Stamp Act. You have to make a deed, mortgage deed, and you have to register it. Okay. Mortgage is one type of charge, but charge is bigger word. Charge is a bigger word. Okay, so charge is created as security for repayment of your loan. So whenever a charge is created, you should ask, what is the loan? What is the loan amount? On which asset are you creating? How much? When it is repayable? What is the interest rate? All these questions you have to ask. And all this detail has to be given to the registrar also. So that is why they are saying, see, unfortunately, section 2, subsection 16 ka definition, charge includes a mortgage. What? Charge includes? That's why Mayur Gupta is asking, sir, what is mortgage? Now he knows. So mortgage is when you offer immovable property as security, mortgage. In addition to that, there are so many methods of creating charge on property. Am I correct? See, debts, you have debtors, sundry debtors. If you transfer it, assign it to the bank, that is called factoring. Okay, that is also charge. In other words, that asset, Baba, sundry debtor is an asset sitting in your balance sheet on the asset side. That is being offered as a security for getting a working capital loan. Stock is being given as a security for getting a loan. It could be called hypothecation, whatever you call it. That document or that act of offering a property as security is called creating a charge. This is, see, you and I also will create a charge. But for us, other than the Government Registration Act duty, there is no other duty for registration. Whereas when a company creates a charge on any property, that charge, as defined under 2 subsection 16, that charge has to be registered. Okay. So finally, and in conclusion, and in simple terms, where any asset of the company is given as security for a loan, whether by way of mortgage or otherwise, a charge is said to be created. Because most people know mortgage. Mortgage is a well-known type of creating charge, but there are other methods also of creating charge. Whatever it is, where the intention is that this security will be sold in case the loan is not repaid, a charge is created under the Companies Act. See what happens, unfortunately, under the Transfer of Property Act, charge is defined. For your information, that is just for your information. That definition of charge is not applicable to you now. You don't have to bother. That's what they are saying. Forget the transfer of property definition. Charge here includes mortgage, because there charge does not include mortgage. Charge is separately defined. Don't worry about that. As far as you are concerned, Companies Act ka charge includes mortgage. Now, Jasprit Kaur is asking a very, very lengthy doubt. Let me quickly read it. Madam, I am now in the middle of another new topic. So at this stage, if I take up your lengthy doubt, I will be spoiling the mood for the other students. So kindly permit me to take a call, either at the end of the session or somewhere in the middle of the session. I will take, because it's too long, which is, I don't, if I read it, it will take unnecessary time. So kindly permit me to take it up. I will answer it, but not now. Maybe I'll read it for 3 minutes and then I will, in the middle of the session. Today, Ajto, there will be no break because I would like to close it a little early for personal reasons and other reasons also. So no break. We'll go on till 8:15 or 8:20 and stop. Okay. So Jaspreet, you'll have to just hold on. But I will answer your question, no problem. And startup, the word I'm seeing there, I have scant regard for startups. Day before yesterday, I was in Coimbatore when one gentleman stood up and talked about startups, how to raise fund for startup. I said, how can you borrow? How can a startup borrow? You have no profits. You have no profit track record. You have nothing. You just want to borrow. You can't borrow. Who will lend money to you? Only your father-in-law will lend. Who will lend? See, there should be some asset there, not something there for me to lend on. Suppose that fellow runs away, nothing is there. So that is the problem with startups, which is why generally banking companies do not lend to startups. Very difficult. Let's see. Now that I've gone into this, I'll read her question anyway. Because last chapter doubt could be connected with charges. Provisio to certificate shares says that a startup company may issue certificate shares up to 50%, up to 10 years. But other provision provides that issuance of certificate shares in the company. But this, what will happen to the startup after 10 years? Startup. See, startup is an exception to the general rule, right? Startup company is an exception to the general rule. So general rule will not apply to startup company. Okay. So startup company can issue for sweat equity shares up to 50%. Okay. Up to 10 years. Okay. So, and what will happen to the startup company after 10 years? 10 years is a very long time. Startup will be destroyed within the first 3 years itself. If there are about 30 startups starting the race point, hardly 2 will survive. Hardly 2 will survive. It's a highly risky activity. 10 years and all is too long to talk for these fellows. Let us see. 10 years later, we will discuss it. 10 years later, the act may be amended. 10 years later, so definitely the startup fellow is not going to be there, I'm telling you. Come and talk to me about it. So don't worry. Good question. Very interesting question. I hope I have answered it. My answer to you is startup is an exception to the general rule. So startup will get its 10 years. Don't worry. After 5 years, another 5 years. But I'm sorry, I'm laughing. Fellows, they simply come out of engineering college, go for work, 2 years, 3 years, they dabble around coding, booding. Then they come out and start a startup. And then they say they are valuation. Sorry. I have very scant regard for these people. No good value investor will ever touch a startup. Will not touch a startup. So, not a good investment. Unless, so the model should be, the revenue model and business model should be so great. Most of these fellows don't even know what is the revenue model. Forget business model. Anyway, moving on. So that is the answer to your question. Okay, good question. Now moving on. Types of charges. So we have fixed charge and floating charge. There are 2 types of charges. Fixed charge, floating charge. Friends, fixed floating, nothing to do with the asset. It is something to do with the charge. Fixed means doesn't change. Fixed means the value of the asset will not change, or rather, no. The identity of the asset will not change. Fixed charge means the identity of the asset will not change. Floating charge, the identity of the asset will change. A fixed charge is a charge on specific assets of the borrowing company. These assets are identified at the time of creation of charge. These assets are identified at the time of creation of charge, right? When a charge is created, so we know clearly which asset. The identity of the asset is determined. It will not change. Simple example, when a immovable property, building, land and building offered, it's a fixed charge. Clearly on that specific land and building only, no other asset. So that is called fixed charge on specific assets. When a charge is created on such assets, the charge remains fixed and the borrowing company is not permitted to sell such assets, though it may use them. So the company is creating a charge on its factory, land and building. It is a fixed charge on those specific land, building, identified buildings and machinery and all. Now, the company can use that, manufacture cement, sell, etc., etc. I mean, the cement. But the land, building, machinery cannot be sold unless they repay the loan or they get the NOC from the lender. That can happen later on when satisfaction, I'll explain. That is, they can get a no objection certificate from the lender by giving another property. They may want to sell this property, they give another property, exchange the property, no problem. Or pay, call that fellow and throw the money at his face, he will release the charge. That's it, satisfied. You can do whatever you want. But if it is, so long as the charge is present, it remains fixed and the company cannot sell. Assets under fixed charge can be sold only with the permission or consent of the charge holder. Obviously, he will give consent only if he has got equivalent, either money or equal asset. Then he'll give. A fixed charge is vacated when the money borrowed against the assets subject to the fixed charge is repaid in full. So a fixed charge is cleared or vacated when the money is repaid in full. Repaid in full. So when you pay the money, charge is over. So imagine the charge is like a net hovering above the asset. Charge is like a net hovering above the asset. Am I correct? In the case of fixed charge, the asset remains fixed. No change. Identity is the same. In case the money is not repaid, the net will fall, the asset will be sold, creditor will take the money. But otherwise, asset will be capable of being used. Now, floating charge is created on assets which are fluctuating or changing, meaning the identity of the asset will change. For example, bank is lending money against security of stock and trade, stock and debtors. So in the normal course of business, the company will buy raw material, convert, sell, finished goods will be created, that will be sold, debtors will be there, debtors will be collected. So there will be a continuous change of these assets. But the nature of the asset will be identified. The loan is against inventory and debtors. So on today, if I come and check, especially some of you who are doing articles or who will do articles, you will do something called, sir, I have already given you fixed charge. Did you listen to me? I have already given you fixed charge example. Did you listen? Complete factory, land and building, machinery or specific machinery, car, these are all fixed charges. The asset is identified from the beginning to the end, no change in the asset. Have you understood fixed charge, Madhavji? I will give for floating charge. You first tell me that you have understood fixed charge. Please confirm, Madhav, that you understood fixed. Now we will go to floating. So fixed means what? Yeah, the identity of the asset will not change. I have given you 100 examples. Land, building, anything that you offer as security, identified asset will not change till the loan is repaid, fixed charge. Now floating charge, the nature of the asset is identified, like stock, debtors, like that. But that asset will keep changing in the ordinary course of business. The company can buy, sell, deal with it in the ordinary course of business. Simple and straightforward examples are raw material, stock in trade. Have you understood, Madhav? Because if you have understood this, I will confuse you further with one example. Understood. Sudhanshu understood. Madhav Tiwari understood. Now, Madhavji, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask all of you a question. All of you a question. Land. Is it fixed asset or current asset? Land. Is it fixed asset or current asset? It's an interesting question, right? As future members of our institute, you're going to be auditing large infrastructure companies. Okay. If I tell that word, you'll immediately get where I'm going. So I'm not going to say that. Okay. Land is Anna, Shivam Tiwari, all the Tiwaris, please listen to me, Tiwarijis. Interest, nothing to do with interest. Baba, fixed interest, floating interest, वो दूसरा topic है. वो इस topic में नहीं, ये नहीं है. This is nothing to do with fixed interest, fixed rate, floating rate. वो absolute अलग-अलग. Okay, दूसरा topic है. Okay, mind में wipe कर दीजिए. Here we are discussing charge, not interest. Interest, fixed, floating, nothing doesn't matter. You got it, sir? That was Madhav Tiwari. Now this is Shivam Tiwari. All the Tiwaris are there. Great. I think we had a finance minister called Tiwari, right? Great. So see, you guys are all going to take up some important positions in our country. So don't worry about interest. Shivam, you don't give me comment like this. Interest rate is fixed and fixed charge. Kanna, this is right. This is the how you write BCom answer. Sometimes I'll correct this company secretary guy, institute ka papers. The fellows will give all bullshit, yeah. Like what you have written here. Sir, fixed charge means the rate of interest is fixed. No, it may be fixed, it may be floating. The rate of interest is different. That is a contract between the borrower and the lender. How you want to charge interest. Whether you're going to fix the rate of interest at the beginning and then charge the same rate throughout the loan's tenor, or are you going to float it, meaning link it with the LIBOR or the Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate, 10 basis points or 5 basis points, MIBOR plus first, whatever. That's a totally different topic. Okay, please do not confuse. Hello, Mr. Tiwari ji, I want you to confirm that you have understood what I said, not Madhav, the other guy. Okay, please confirm that you have understood. So I'm having answer. Land is fixed asset, land is fixed asset. All assets given in example of fixed charge are fixed assets. Okay, that is the I asked you a question. Land is fixed asset or current asset. So all of you are telling land is fixed asset. I am a real estate developer. My company is into real estate development. We have identified 100 acres of land. We have obtained permission for construction and we are making them into plots to be sold as plots. Okay. I have paid money and I have got that land, which I will be selling piecemeal to various people who want to buy. Now tell me, this land which I have got, should I show under current asset or fixed asset? Have you understood the question first of all? I am now, see the land you are getting caught. The minute I said land, fixed asset. Agreed. 95% of the time, no, 80% of the time land will be fixed asset. But for a real estate company which deals in land, buys land, sells land, land is a current asset or fixed asset. Where will I show? Will I show in stock in trade or will I show it in fixed assets? Think and answer, because this will become relevant for you when you come to income tax capital gain also. Conversion of capital asset into stock in trade into capital asset. No, stock in trade, capital asset into stock in trade. Now you got the point, current asset. So my dear friends, what did I teach you in this one concept? Don't have such fixed ideas. Let your ideas float. Nothing is fixed, nothing is floating. It depends on the situation. What are you going to do with that asset? Are you going to build a factory land and building on it? Factory building on it and machinery and manufacture cement? Then it is fixed asset. Suppose you're going to develop that land and sell it. It is stock in trade. Even if you're going to construct flats, residential flats, still it is stock in trade, Baba. Because when you sell it to the final flat owner, now you will be selling UDS, land, and you'll be selling building. Like contract. But basically the asset is a current asset. It will be shown only in stock in trade. Got it? This answer I was expecting from somebody. At least one person I was expecting in this intelligent audience will say, sir, answer cannot be given like that. Tell me whether this land is going to be used by the assessee or going to be sold by the assessee. Like that. Okay. So most of you are aware of the point, but you are now tell me how will it? Are you able to understand? When I borrow money against my factory, land, buildings, etc., it is a fixed charge because the assets are specific. But suppose I'm a real estate promoter, I go to the bank and I tell them, look here, I will be buying land on and off, sir. On all my land, I'll give you. Whenever I buy land, I will submit the document with you. But on all the original documents, I'll deposit with you. But your loan is on any land that I'm having at any time, but I will buy and sell. Whenever I sell, I won't have to come to you and all. because I have to give good possession and title to the buyer. So in that case, I don't know about 2 years and all. Who told you 2 years? Where is it 2 years? I'm not aware of 2 years. Darshan, I didn't see the answer. Sorry, I'll check up if Darshan has given. Hey, you are right, ma. Darshan, you are the only man who gave the answer beginning itself. When everybody else was saying, no. I think you gave the answer only after I told you about land being held by a real estate promoter. In the beginning, you didn't say that. When I asked whether fixed asset is, whether land is fixed asset or current asset, you didn't tell. Only when I gave description of user, you changed. That way, everybody knows that. 2 years, I don't know, Baba. See, all that, whatever it is, ma. It is, see, I think the principle you get into it, ma. Let's understand the principle, ma. Same asset will become fixed charge if it is used by the assessee. It will become floating charge if it is dealt with by the assessee. Principle you have to understand. Okay. So, yeah, you can say that, Darshan, but don't get caught in that mess also. Don't say for working capital requirement only like that. But by and large, obviously, the nature of the need is such that you would prefer to go for working capital needs for in this case, and for, term loans and other things in that case. Not always, not necessarily. Principle, where the nature of the asset is known, but the identity keeps changing, floating charge. Where the nature of the asset is, where the asset itself is clearly identified and identity will not change, then fixed charge, right? Both are good. See, again, the procedure for registration is the same. It is not as if floating charge has a different procedure. Just this is knowledge sake, that's all. See, the point with floating charge is, floating charge will be on all the assets of that class which are existing at any time. All the assets of that class belonging to the company at any time. So that is why, when the bank gives you an assignment for stock audit, we go there. And on a particular day, we go there and we take stock. And we will give them a report saying, hey, you've lent them 8 crores. These guys have got stock so much. We verified it and we found it's there. Data so much, total calculation, whatever calculation they are using, CA minus CL in 0.75 of CA minus CL, or 0.75 of CA minus CL, or some banks are giving 0.75 CA. They're not reducing CL also. CL means current liabilities. So they don't reduce sundry creditors also nowadays, whatever it is. So such cases, it is, we'll report to them and say they are happy. But then, again, this fellow may do. I have done stock audit for many private sector and banks and public sector banks. So many kudal will happen. Kudal means fraud will happen. I tell you this. You have to be very, very careful. And when I go there and I do stock audit, they get irritated on them. What to do? Because I'll be asking all the questions, verifying and all. They get angry. But then sometimes they won't have stock. And that is the problem. Bank manager also will know. You keep quiet. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shivam Tiwari ji, for giving that very well explained. Thank you. Okay, now coming to my floating charge. See, the floating charge is like a net now. It's like a net. It's hanging on top of that. Now the net is hanging, but the assets are moving. See, in fixed charge, the net is hanging, asset is not moving. But in floating charge, net is hanging, assets are moving. Right, sir? Almost think of another example. Net is there, fish is moving. Fish. Those of you from Kerala will understand what I am saying. See, fish are moving in the Purana, they'll be going very fast. So we want to catch fish. What I will do now, I'll be wearing dhoti, I'll remove it. I'll be wearing langot, don't worry. Then I'll go into right in the middle of the river, myself and friend. We will hold the cloth, the dhoti under the water, below the fish. Fish will be moving on top. The floating charge, that is the dhoti, floating charge will be floating. The assets will be moving. Then exactly when I want to catch the fish, I will raise the dhoti. What happens? Whatever fish is there at that time only I will have. When the float charge is enforced on that day, whatever charge will be there will be available. So that is, you have to be careful. Okay. When you lift the dhoti, what is there? That only comes. When the creditor enforces the security, that is lifting the dhoti, or the company goes into liquidation, the floating charge will become a fixed charge on all the assets available on that date. See, all the assets of that class, I will add that point. All the assets of that class available on that date and which may come into existence thereafter. So you might have placed an order, supply, so that could have come. All that, whatever comes into existence also will be in the floating. So the conversion of a floating charge into a fixed charge is called crystallization. This is called crystallization of a floating charge. Okay. Vishwanath Reddy is asking whether modification of charge is possible. Very much possible. I will be teaching a little bit later. So hold on, wait. This topic I will cover modification also. Why are you in a hurry? Let us come with me. I'm taking you on a walk in a mountain path. That's another place. We're going to go there very shortly. Right now, enjoy the scenery that I'm showing you here. Enjoy this scenery. We'll move on. When I go to modification, I'll talk to you. Real estate business usually sold plots in multiple. So, my dear, multiple years means what are you telling? You're telling what do you mean by multiple years? Can you explain what do you mean by multiple years? Real estate business usually sold plots in multiple years. See, seriously, this English I'm not able to understand. What are you trying to communicate by that? For a real estate company, land which is purchased with the intention of selling in the ordinary course of business. Watch my mouth. I'm going to repeat it once more. Listen to me. For a real estate company, land which is purchased with intention that it will be sold to buyers in the ordinary course of business is stock in trade. It doesn't happen whether it's sold in whatever you mean by multiple years, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I think what you mean is installment payment. What are you trying to say? I will buy the land in this year, maybe I'll sell it 5 years later. So what? So long as I'm holding that land with intention to sell it in the ordinary course of my business as a real estate company to buyers, then it is a stock in trade. Correct. The assets, the nature of the asset is fixed, but the value of the asset and the exact items will change. See, another classic example. Many banks will lend money to companies running retail outlets. Huge retail showrooms are there. So the entire stock in trade and debtors of that company will be funded by bank. So that complete showroom, television, fridge, washing machine, everything is not mortgage, is hypothecated to the bank. Even when you go to that shop, somewhere in the corner that fellow would put near the cash counter or somewhere there will be a sticker, assets hypothecated to Dubagur Bank Limited or whatever they will put. So you should know that these assets are. But in the ordinary course of business, that washing machine you buy, you will not get it subject to charge. You will not get it subject to charge. You will get it free of any encumbrance. Bank cannot come and catch you. Later on, one day, the bank may say, pay my money. This fellow will say, go to hell. That day, the charge will be called now. The bank will make a call for its money and say, you have to pay within so day. That day, when the bank comes with the court order, whatever assets are there of this class, that will be the amount they will get. So it's called a floating charge. As against land, suppose land has been, charge has been created, then once a charge is created by the company and registered, any person buying the property will get it subject to the charge, fixed charge, subject to the charge. That means what? The security holder will have a better right than the buyer. Have to be very careful. Which is why this whole concept of registration is there. Okay. Let us go there. Before that, let us see what Varsha Shetty says. Maybe person want to say that in other business talking, it is moving fast and slow, not good. Doesn't matter. I hope that's what I'm trying to communicate once and for all to you. Don't go by such perceptions about it. Principle is more important. Please, you are going to future become chartered accountants of reputation. Don't bother about all these things. Perceptions. See, for Aam Aadmis and Ramasamy, Kuppusamy, Valas, these perceptions are there. For you and I, it's a principle that is important. Okay, don't talk. We should not talk like lay people. We should talk like professional. Professional will ask, what is the purpose for which you are holding? I'll tell you why, Mama. It may sound like silly topic in intermediate CA. Later on, when you become a practicing CA, this question will turn the case before the tribunal. See, your intention is enough under the Income Tax Act. to create fixed asset as stock in trade. And from that day onwards, the taxation itself is going to be different. So it becomes very, very important. That is why I'm possibly spending a little more time to help you understand it. Okay. See, understanding can be at different levels. One shallow level is that just read the book and then keep on repeating, sir, in the book this is said, in the book that is said. Rather go deep into the subject, understand it in terms of principles, then books can come, books can go. Knowledge remains forever. Thank you, Keshav Thakur. Keshav Thakur has understood. My God, then I'm so happy. Because usually he will ask questions. Thank you, Varsha, for clarifying that point. But I want all of you guys and gals, if I may say so, to understand why you are holding that asset is more important than what that asset is. Final example, I will tell you. Cow, cattle. Okay, why cow? Okay, cow. Cow. Is it fixed asset or current asset? If you answer this correctly, then you have understood what I have said. Cow. I know it's a very sacred topic, dangerous topic. So many friends from Uttar Pradesh are here. Madhya Pradesh are here. You will all get very angry with me. But cow, fixed asset or current asset? Sudhanshu, if you have understood, tell me. Cow, fixed asset or current asset? आनंद में है ना? अहमदाबाद से वडोदरा रास्ता में है ना? आनंद. Gujarat Milk Producers Federation, so-called Amul. Cow, current asset or fixed asset? See, now Aisha gets it correctly. She gets it correctly. Depends on how it is being dealt with in the question. So what is your business? Are you Milk Federation? Are you milking the cow and selling the milk? Fixed asset. Fixed asset. Beyond this, I won't go. And I will not hurt the feelings of my friends. But if so, it's a current asset. Suddenly, why Keshav is wasting? Is it a joke, Keshav, or why are you wasting our time with that question? Please don't interrupt the class with such questions. Kindly do not put such questions in the middle of an important session. Please. First of all, it is a little insulting to me. When I am discussing a topic and trying to make you understand the topic, talk about that topic. Don't change the topic like this. Okay? The question you have asked is irrelevant for this topic. I feel very bad that you are raising this question. Please do not raise such questions again. You want to know, please call up your friend in my city, find out from them. I am not here to answer this question for you. Am I correct, Keshav? Somewhere I need to draw the line here. What do you say? If you want an answer to that specific question you have asked, you got a telephone, call up somebody in my city or whichever city you think I'm in, and you kindly find out from them. And then if you want to buy, buy. Okay. See, I took up one important point. I know cow is a dangerous topic, but still to help you understand, use is more important. Intention is more important. That is why I gave that example. Correct. If it is for milk, it's a fixed asset. If it is not for milk, if you are going to do something with that cow and sell it, then it is correct. For example, if you deal in cows, if you buy cow, sell cow, then it is a current asset. But if you keep the cow, milk it, sell the milk, fixed asset. Please. Is there any regulation regarding the amount of charge that is against an asset of 1 lakh? Can a charge asset of worth 100 be created? Boss, that's entirely contractual between the lender and the borrower. If the lender is willing to lend, the borrower is willing to take and go, no problem. Okay. So thank you, Keshav, for accepting it. It's a mistake. Don't do this again in my class. If you want to waste class, do it somewhere else, not with me. I'm teaching a subject for the benefit of students. Not see, if you don't like my cow example, go ahead, don't. But that is not the point. Okay. Yeah. See, we have taken a simple thing like cow and made it into a very, very dangerous topic, na? Okay, no problem. Chalo, moving on. So I give this example regularly in my finance for non-finance workshops. When I conduct finance for non-finance workshops for engineers, this is the best way to make them understand. The minute I tell them, they will immediately understand what is fixed asset, what is current asset. Once you understand that, you will realize that Usually floating charges will be created on current assets, whereas fixed charges will be created on fixed assets. But no rule. And what is a fixed asset or what is a current asset will differ. Later on, as you are going inside the topic, I'll give you 101 examples of how banks are lent money foolishly against a property. It depends. Okay, so that is not the point. When you create a charge, you should register. Means company should register. Individual firm, etc. need not register. Only company, every company creating a charge shall register the same with the registrar of companies. Sir, a crystallization of of floating charge, but we call it means, will we call those as it seized? Or any other word? Seized? No. It will crystallize. See, that asset will be locked. That asset will be locked. The company cannot sell it after that. Literally, they'll put a lock and key and go. They'll come to the godown factory and all. They will put a lock and key and go. That's all. Matter over. Okay. So that's seized. Okay, you can call it locked. It will be locked. You can't sell that again. You can't sell it anymore. The right of the company to sell will be gone. Thank you for your kind comment, Ms. Garg. Oriji, thank you very much. Now coming back to this point, why is it like this? Why every company creating a charge shall register? Why they made it compulsory? Think about it. For an individual, his assets need not be disclosed in the balance sheet. Because the business balance sheet and asset may not be disclosed. It doesn't matter. Even if that asset is not disclosed in the business balance sheet. Okay, it is any personal asset in his name will also be available to the creditors. So the creditors are not bothered with the balance sheet. Okay, whereas in the case of a company, the only assets which are available to the company are mentioned in the balance sheet. For a firm also the same thing. Now, even if one asset is not left, is in the name of the partner, doesn't matter. Because suppose the firm is going into liquidation, the creditors can sue any partner, jointly and severally liable for the entire debts of the firm, not only for his share. He has to pay entire. The every partner is jointly and severally liable. And the individual, of course, is unlimited liability. So in those cases, we are not bothered. Balance sheet has no big deal. But when it comes to company, the balance sheet is the only reality. If you are a creditor, you're looking at the balance sheet, you see the assets. These are the only assets belonging to the company. Suppose you're going to lend money to them, you should be assured that these assets are free from encumbrance, that nobody else has a right to sell the asset for a loan. How to know that? Now, there's one more problem. If it is a fixed asset, like a land or building, the mortgage or whatever it is will be registered. So I can go to the sub-registrar's office and I can apply for a document called encumbrance certificate. Encumbrance means some kind of a prevention. Encumbrance, there is some kind of a lock. You can't sell that asset. Encumbrance, meaning when an asset is given as a security and that mortgage is registered, then in the EC, in the encumbrance certificate, EC is nothing but title certificate. For 13 years or 20, you can apply for 40 years also. They will give you who was owning this property. For 30 years, they'll give you the thing. So A was owning, then sold it to B, then C, then finally now it is being owned by you. Now the bank will know. So thereafter, when they register the mortgage, their name will come. This asset has been mortgaged to so-and-so bank or so-and-so finance company. So they are safe. But this is possible only for immovable property. So when movable properties are hypothecated, what to do, etc. Book debts, stock, and there's no registration compulsion. So there should be some public information with regard to companies about charges created on property. Where will I provide this public information? Who else? But the registrar. So the registrar of companies becomes the repository of this information. So if you are a potential creditor, if you want to lend money to a company, you go to the balance sheet and you find out what are all the assets. Okay. Company is saying, I'm going to offer you this land and building. Chalo. It is there in the balance sheet. Auditor has certified. One happiness. But on the loan side, some liabilities are also there. But of course, usually for information, in the notes and accounts, very clearly we'll mention what is the security and all. That information is also there. In addition to that, to be 100% sure, you should go to the registrar of companies, MCA website, go to this company, pay some money also, go download the full data. Or if you don't want to do it, hire a company secretary, poor fellow, at least let him earn some money. You would give him an assignment, he will go and do it for you. He will study the complete record and come out to you with a report saying this company was there, is having so many properties. These properties have been offered as security to so-and-so people. These are the charges, terms and conditions, the rate of interest, everything you can get. It is public information. Now, this company is offering one asset to you as a security. And you find that that asset already offered to another creditor. Now, you will go to that fellow and say, hey, company, come here. What are you talking? No, sorry. No, sorry, Puri and all. You first either release that or I should also get charged. You go and get NOC from that fellow. Maybe the value of the asset is more. I will come to it a little bit later. When the value of the asset is more, I can create multiple charge on it. But this fellow should have the ability to know now that already another K has come. The asset is worth 5 crore. Already 2 crore fellow has lent against 5 crore. No, I can only lend balance 3 now. Like a fool, I should also not lend another 5 crore now. So that if the asset is sold, both of us cannot get. Yes. Shivanji, don't jump the gun. All that I will tell you. Charge holder can also do it. Why? Now you come to the point. Now you understand now. If the charge is not registered, who is affected? Both the future creditor and also the current charge holder. I will tell you why. We will come to that. Okay, please hold on. I know your knowledge is very high, but allow me to tell it. Allow me to tell it. Please, Shivam. Okay, allow me to tell. It can be done, yes. But allow me to tell it in the... See, it's like, come on, yaar, you are watching. When a story is being told, now, you immediately... I've just started Rama and Bas. Rama has just crossed Ganga. He still got to go to Dandakaranya. He's got... Sita is still with him, Bas. Now you're telling, sir, finally Rama kills Ravana or what, sir? Hey, don't do that. I'll tell you, don't worry. I'll tell you. Because you have not even come to that stage. Then only I can tell Ravan will be killed or not. That will be the suspense. Wait. Okay. So, whenever a charge is created by a company, it shall register the same with the ROC. The asset being charged may be situated in India or outside India. Doesn't matter. Please note, an asset situated outside India, mortgage, etc. will not be registered in India. It will be registered in that country, France or Germany. So a creditor cannot go everywhere in the world and get all this information. That is why if the company is owning, see, Indian company owning foreign asset, offering it as a charge to a foreign bank, no problem. You have to register the charge in India under the Companies Act 2013. Why? Because the creditor will know. Okay. Now, it may be movable or immovable. It may be tangible or otherwise. It may be tangible means touching, feeling, smelling, tangible. I can know it through the 5 senses, tangible. I cannot know it through the 5 senses, intangible. Am I correct? Goodwill, patent, copyright, whatever you call it. Trademark, Brahman, intangible. Cannot be seen, cannot be smelled. Cannot be known by the 5 senses, beyond the 5 senses. Okay, so it is called intangible, that is tangible or otherwise. Okay, now comes the point. Now comes the point. What is the consequence of non-registration? I'll come to that later. Okay, I'll go there and then I'll come. Consequences of non-registration of a charge. Shivam Tiwari, we will answer your question and then go back. See, when a charge is not registered, no charge created by a company shall be taken into account by the liquidator or any other creditor unless it is duly registered and a certificate of registration of such charge is given by the registrar. So if the charge is not registered, first of all, Sir, what will happen if the charge is not registered, sir? This is what will happen. If the charge is not registered, then the charge will become void against the liquidator and other creditors of the company. You might ask, what does it mean? Why can't they simply say charge will become void? No, they're saying because the charge will become void, but the debt will become payable. See, the fact that the charge is not registered will not deny the debt. See, this shall not prejudice any contract or obligation for the repayment of the money secured by a charge. Non-registration of charge will not in any way interfere with the debt. The debt is still due, but the security is lost. When a charge is not registered, when the company creates the charge and that charge on an asset and that charge is not registered in accordance with the procedure we are going to discuss very shortly, I will be telling you, don't worry, I will tell you. So don't worry, I will tell you. So when the charge is not registered in accordance with the procedure we have laid down, the charge will become void against the liquidator and other creditors of the company, other creditors. Now, I want you to, for a moment, come with me to a scene. A company has been liquidated. Okay, I am the liquidator. I have completely sold all the assets. I am the liquidator. I have completely sold all the assets and I have converted it into cash just for the sake of fun and joke. Normally, you cannot. Everything should be done only by online bank transfer or checks. For the sake of joke, for the sake of the story, cash. So I am the liquidator. I have sold all the assets. I got a bundle of 2 or 3 briefcases of cash ready. All 500 rupee new currency, crisp currency ready. Now I call a meeting of the creditors. I call for a meeting of the creditors and shareholders and tell them, boss, liquidation over, all assets sold, money here, come. Then all of the creditors come, huge Kalyan Mandapam here, about 300 creditors are milling around, going around. I then call out on the mic, all the secured creditors on my left-hand side, all the secured creditors on my left-hand side, all the unsecured buggers go to the right-hand side. Now, please tell me, my dear friends, which queue will be longer? All the secured, when I am looking at them on my left-hand side, बाएं तरफ में secured creditors, दाहिने में unsecured. Which queue will be longer? Which queue लंबा है? The unsecured queue, na? Hey, everybody will be standing here. The guy who's applied tea, the guy who's applied newspaper, of course, credit, guy who's applied raw material, everybody will be standing there. On the left-hand side, banks, financial institution, a couple of HNIs, high net worth individuals, they will all be standing neatly addressed. Now, but these guys have got security. Am I correct? Now, they come one by one. I call up them. First, I will deal with secured creditors. Unsecured borrowers, please wait. So, secured creditor, one fellow comes, okay, take the money, go. Everything, because charge is registered. I can see that. What is that amount? Take it, take it, take it. Your asset was sold, sir. This is the amount, take it, take it. Now, one fellow comes. I say, what are you? I'm secured creditor. Agreed. Show me the registration. Mortgage has been registered. Here. Yeah, mortgage has been registered. Okay. Where is the certificate of registration of charges under the Companies Act? What? Companies Act? Kya? What Companies Act? Brother, do you have a charge? Is your charge registered under the Companies Act? No, not registered. Then this charge will be void against me, the liquidator, and the other creditors of the company. We do not recognize you as a secured creditor. You are a creditor. Your debt is to be paid, but no secured creditor for you. Go to the long queue. Stand in the long queue. Go to the unsecured creditors queue. I hope with this story, you have understood what I am trying to say. The charge will become void against the liquidator and other creditors of the company. As far as we, the liquidator and the other creditors are concerned, you are not a secured creditor. You are a creditor. He is going to stand in the long queue. After I distribute to secured creditors, whatever is left over, I will see how many of you are there. If anything sufficient, I'll pay you also. But if not sufficient, only pro rata payment, Baba. Wait, wait. So the serious problem, the secured creditor whose charge is not registered loses his security and is reduced to the level of an unsecured creditor. It's a very serious problem. The company itself cannot dispute the debt. But the creditor cannot enforce his security. He can only file a suit or join the long queue of unsecured creditors. Now you understand? The long queue of unsecured creditors. So the real sufferer is the charge holder. So if you really look at it, who is the sufferer? Definitely company, there is a penalty. For company, penal provisions are there, very tough. Still, the real sufferer is the charge holder. What is the remedy available to the charge holder? This is what our Shivam Tiwari says. This is what Shivam Tiwari is telling. Sir, charge holder can also get the charge registered. Now you understood what Shivam is saying? Obviously, no, you are saying charge is to be registered. That companies are rascals, they are not doing it. I am the charge holder. What can I do? The law says, Baba, you register. Okay. Where the company fails to register the charge may be registered by the charge holder. Shivam, are you happy? I have told your point. So, where the company fails to register the charge may be registered by the charge holder. Hey, this is the minimum kindness you can show for that guy. Na? So, he can do it within the same framework. I'm going to describe a framework within such and such a date, within such and same will apply to him. So, in case the charge holder is going to register the charge, definitely he will incur all sorts of expenses now. So, if so, such a charge holder shall be entitled to recover from the company the amount of any fees or additional fees or ad valorem fees paid by him. Now, friends, what is that ad valorem fee? I will tell you because it's going to come a little later. Various fees are there. You know how the MCA walas know? They will fees. So, up to one date, you pay ordinary fees. Beyond that date, you pay additional fees. Beyond that date, if you want to register the charge, you will pay the fees based on the value of the charge, ad valorem. Based on the value of the charge, percentage basis, they will collect. So, whatever the fee he's paying, other expenses, including he will hire a company secretary to do the work. Now, that fellow's fees, everything will be debited to your account. So, if he is the bank, he will debit your account. If he is any other creditor, he will recover it from you. And when finally the asset is sold, this also will be with interest he will collect. Okay. So he will say, please pay this amount, or else it will be included in the total loan. Further, please understand one thing. The failure to register charge shall not absolve the company from its liability in respect of offense under this chapter. There are penal consequences. Please don't think that company can simply remain, no, it's a crime. But you see, by this logic, the real sufferer is the charge holder. So at least he can ensure that his security is not lost by he can himself get it registered. Believe me, all public sector banks, even private sector banks, financial institutions, the minute they lend money to you, once the mortgage signed or whatever the instrument of charge is signed, immediately they have their own panel of company secretaries. In the loan agreement, very clearly they will mention the bank reserves the right to register the charge and any amount paid will be collected. Contractually also you become liable. Statutory also you are liable to that bank. Then the bank will call Mr. Company Secretary and he will say, please register the charge. They will have a panel of company secretaries for which based on value they will pay fees. Not percentage, but up to this much 10,000 rupees, beyond that 20,000, like up to some rate. Like bank audit fees, they'll fix slabs and they'll give. So that's how the thing will work practically. Okay. So this is the consequence of, one more consequence is there for non-registration, but that I'll come to a little later. Right now, what you should understand, if the charge is not registered, it is void as against the liquidator and other creditors. That means charge holder will not be able to enforce the security, right? So this is the point. So now this, and having understood that, let us go to duty to register charge, section 77. We'll be seeing the due dates a little later. We will be seeing the due dates a little bit. Correct. Precaution is always better than cure. And in this case, there is no cure. If you have not, of course, there is a cure, you can pay ad valorem and all, but even there is a limit. Beyond that, if the charge is not registered, that's it. So better not play a risk. You do it yourself is the point. The following shall be filed. Okay, these documents are to be filed. Particulars of the charge means all this information, who is the charge holder, what is the amount, what is the interest, etc., 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 description of property, etc., etc. All that. Don't worry about that. Form filling is not our job. Company secretaries are there. They will do it for us. Highly brilliant people, they know how to do it. So they will do it for you. Don't worry about that. All you need to know is charge needs to be registered, for which you have to file form number CHG1 for other than debentures, where you are borrowing money other than debentures, where you are borrowing money by issuing debentures. Please note, even if there is no collateral security, if you issue debentures, that itself becomes a security. So when you issue debentures, you have to file form number 9. Okay. Along with that, you should give you a copy of the instrument, if any, creating charge. Sometimes in the case of pledges and all, there may be no instrument, in which case particulars is enough. But if there is an instrument, that instrument has to be given. For example, a mortgage deed, a hypothecation deed, whatever has to be given. It means failure in registration of charge will not lead to discharge of debt. No. How will it lead to discharge? Discharge means the company should pay. The company is not forced to pay, but the debt is still due. Okay. The debt is still due. Okay, so don't confuse. Failure to register Baba, he has to pay enough for discharge. Unless he pays, or discharge will be there. The fellow is not even registering charge, you mean to say he'll pay? There will be no discharge of debt. Okay. Debt will become payable. He has to pay the debt. Okay. Buyer of uncharged asset. Buyer of a charged asset is the sufferer. Uncharged asset, how can he be sufferer? He is the first guy getting it without charge. He will create the charge, get it registered. He will never be a sufferer. But if a charge has already been created on an asset, the guy who buys it and whose charge is not registered, it's of no use to him, because the original guy will get the security. This guy won't get the security. Okay. Now, we go to the other topic on modification. Somebody else was asking, sir, modification. Vishwanath Reddy was asking, now we are coming there. Whenever I create a charge, originally, that has to be registered. Agreed. Whenever I create a charge, at the time of creation, I have to register the charge within the rules. Thereafter, if there is any modification of the charge, modification means change in the terms and conditions, could be the amount could be enhanced, or the rate of interest could be changed, or some terms and conditions could change. Whatever changes, that modification, Vishwanath Reddy Garu, please listen, that modification of charge also has to be registered in the same way like an original charge. In the same way that the original charge is registered, modification also. Any variation in the terms and conditions to be registered. For example, variation by way of change in interest, variation in extent or operation. For example, if the bank lent 4 crore, now they are enhancing the limit to 5 crore, 10 crore. Then for the difference, you have to file 4 crore plus now they are giving you another 3 crore. The 3 crore ka you have to file. Please see this mistake I did when I was a rookie chartered accountant and there were no practicing company secretaries. Chartered accountants like me had to do that work. So I filed a charge for a company, registered a charge for a company where the company had already borrowed 1 crore. Now they had got an extension from they got an enhancement. So from 1 crore, it had moved to 3 crore. Foolishly, I filled up in those days Form 8. Same equivalent to CHG1, it was Form 8. I filled up Form 8 for 1 plus 3, 1 plus 2, 3. I filed for 3 crores, the new amount. Then the registrar, sub-registrar, the assistant registrar, he called me. Mr. Srikanth, I thought you were a chartered accountant. You don't know anything, blah, blah. You were shouting. Sir, what is the problem, sir? You registered modification of charge. You filed for modification of charge. Yes, sir. But it is completely wrong. You are a chartered accountant. Again and again, they will hit you if you are a chartered accountant. Yes, maybe, sir. Then immediately I'll go into humble mode. Yes, sir, you are a big man, sir. I don't know anything. I'm a young man. Please help me, sir. Immediately, he started educating me. In fact, that gentleman, he gave me a lecture on charges for about 25 minutes. That is how I learned. he told me, Srikanth, then he became friendly. He said, now that the minute we get into learning mode, now fold your arms and bow down, the teacher will emerge. So he started teaching me. He said, Srikanth, you're a young man, I understand. You correct it and bring it, but I'll tell you what to do. Whenever you're filing modification, do not file for the entire amount. File only for the difference, the increment. Meaning 1 crore, 2, 3. The 2 crore only you have to file now. So that I will, 1 second, just give me 1 minute. It says my battery is running low. Just give me 1 minute. I need to do something about this. Give me 1 minute. Madan. I'm sorry for the disturbance, some power fluctuation. So my laptop was not charging. Now things are fine. Everything is fine. Let's move on with our life. No problem. So modification also has to be, and I told you, that gentleman taught me. In fact, he became so good a friend. Later on, every time I had an issue in company law, practice part, I used to go to him. See, that's how, in the department, when you deal with people, government department, don't make enemies, make friends. Go to them, and if you don't know, say, I don't know. First thing is say, I don't know, instead of arguing, wasting time. He will be so happy to educate you. A little bit of humility will get you much, much more than arrogance. If you know also, say, I don't know. He will teach you some little bit more than what you know. Okay, is the point. I mean, this is, of course, Buddha ka vaad hai. It's a very old man talking to you. You are all youngsters. I know I ever think, I can tell you like that. I never was like that. I had a lot of knowledge. I was all India rank, but whenever I go to somebody, I will go in learning mode. I will never go in arrogant mode that I know. I will always go in learning because everybody has something to teach. Correct? Can I register charge on any asset of a company? Mr. Tiwari, you are not going to register charge on asset. You are going to register charge when an asset is offered as a security. Have you understood the principle? Simply, you don't take an asset and register. No, it is when you borrow money and you offer this asset as a security, then only you will go and do it. At that time, why simply one asset is sitting there, why you go and register? Yeah. Yes, to answer your question, any asset, if it is offered as a charge, any asset, on the asset side of the balance sheet, if it is there, like Hiranya Varamna, it's saying, people are immovable, tangible or otherwise. You have to, you can, you should. So the word can itself is what you, for the fun of it, you go and register an asset. You register the charge created on the asset. Have you understood, Ji? Shivam Ji? Why I keep asking, your questions are very dangerous questions. Where you are putting stretch, can I register? No need to register unless it's offered as security. Can I, on any asset? Yes, you should register whenever a loan is taken and an asset is offered as security, a charge is created. Whenever a charge is created on any asset, it shall be registered. Please understand. Don't use the word can. It shall be registered. Okay. So thank you, Darshan. Thank you for that. In fact, now that you're telling thought of the day, I'll give you one more example from Ramayana. You see, Vali is the brother of Sugriv. Vali is the elder brother of Sugriv. Very, very powerful. Of course, he made a foolish mistake. Finally, he made that one moment, he made the mistake of, chasing Sugriv out and taking his wife and all that. But for that one thing, Wali was a great man. Wali was, in fact, more powerful than Ravan himself. Once when Wali was near the seaside, Ravan came and called him for fighting. Wali said, I'm busy now, don't disturb me. So immediately Ravan kept fighting. So Wali, you know what he did? He put Ravan under his hand, under his, in the armpit, and he kept him there till he finished the job. Then he released him and he said, no, what do you want? He said, I want to fight with you. Come fight. So Ravan realized, with this fellow, how I can fight? So he ran away. That is Wali. But how did he become so great? Whenever Wali has to fight with somebody, he will never go to him as an opponent. For the first 2 rounds of the fight, 3 rounds, he will be learning from the other person. He will be learning from the other person. As he is fighting, so any good movements and any good things the other fellow has, he will learn. And he's already got skill now. So the other man's skill plus his skill, he will become double his power. This is what in Wali they generally say, any man who stands in front of Wali, Wali will get half his power. But it doesn't mean that by magic he will get it. Half his power will come how? By learning from him. So he has not learned from me, but I have learned from him. So I am 1 plus his half, I will become half, 1.5 times more than him. So this is how I have interpreted Wali. So whenever I meet somebody, whenever I talk to somebody, I will always think, what can I learn? Of course, not like Wali as an opponent, but as if anybody is my guru. Okay? Jagat yasya guruhu saha. Jagat guru means not necessarily Jagatasya guruhu Jagat. Doesn't mean that one who is a teacher of the world. Like I am also Jagat guru because Jagatasya yasya guruhu Jagat. For me, the entire Jagat, the whole universe is a teacher. I am willing to learn. So that is also a quality that, of course, you should develop it now and retain it till you die. Never stop learning. In the real sense, that attitude is more important. Mouthing it is not enough. Telling by the mouth is not enough. The reality, you should be ready to learn, even from young children, from old people, from middle-aged people. Everybody has a lesson to teach us. Be ready to receive it, please. I know, sorry for this unnecessary comment, but then I thought I will as well share it with you. That way your knowledge will become multifold. Okay. This is one example. Modification has to be registered. When a company is acquiring a property subject to charge, meaning there is a property, on that a loan is there. For example, the company has negotiated for the purchase of a land and building on which we are going to construct a multi-story complex. Now, the guy who's selling you says, look here, I have borrowed 5 crore from the bank. Property is worth 20 crores now. 5 crore loan is there. You give me 15 crore, pay the bank 5 crore, do whatever you want, I will run away. We go to the bank and we find out from the bank. Bank also says, we have no objection. You please pay him 15 crore. Then you come to me. Or I will transfer the loan in your name. Now the company is acquiring the property subject to charge. Meaning already there is a mortgage, I am buying it with the mortgage. In case first that earlier charge should get vacated. Suppose that is not an individual but a company on that property, on that asset. There would have been a charge created by that company now. Please understand. I am buying from a company. I am a company buying from a company. That earlier company would have created a charge now on that property. That charge should first be vacated, closed, discharged. Then new charge should be registered by the acquiring company in its name, with its name. So this is, you might say, is it not the responsibility of that other company? Agreed. But you have acquired it subject to charge. So you have to better do it. Otherwise, on that same property, there will be 2 charges. All confusion will be there. So, say 79 subclause A says, the earlier charge should get vacated and the new charge should be registered by the acquiring company. For all this, you have to go through the bank and all that. See, this activity of registration of charge, normally finance department will not do it. It will be done by the secretarial department or by a practicing company secretary. But bulk of the information will be given by finance department. That is why you have to know what it is. But the documentation, etc., will be done by the company secretary. But you have to support him and you should understand what he is doing. So you should not behave like some mechanical thing. You should not. Sometimes, believe me, you might also have to look at all the documents before filing. because those fellows are capable of making mistake. Sorry, those people are capable. They will do all mistakes. Better we also go through it once and clear it before him. And most managing directors and CEOs will not sign a document unless it is cleared by CFO. You and I, chartered accountant. Only if he will tell the company secretary, I don't care. If CFO clears it, I will do. Or in some cases, as in my case, no, some of my clients are very clear. They will say, Srikanth, I will not sign the paper unless you clear it. The auditor clears it, I will not touch it. So I'll just have to put a note and say, I've seen it, everything is not a please sign. Then won't sign. Okay, God and your Guru both are in front of you. Whom you should? Guru only. Answer, one should read the Guru first. And no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Acharyan and Bhagavan, Acharyan only is first. Because Acharyan only tells you who is God. No doubt about it. In our cult also, it is like that only. Acharyan is there, the Guru is there, and Bhagavan is there. You have to only worship the Acharyan first. Then only, because Acharyan only showed you the way to Bhagavan. So, absolutely correct. Just wonderful. With these discussions, this unnecessarily we are taking this to another plane of discussion, but still nothing wrong. Okay, nothing wrong. Where the charge is modified by varying any terms and see some examples of modification of charge. Some examples where the charge is modified by varying any terms and conditions, where the modification is in pursuance of an agreement for enhancing or decreasing the limits, mostly to maximum, because enhancement decreasing, where the modification is by ceding a pari passu charge. How to make you understand this? Pari passu charge, I will explain. I will come back to 3. Let us finish the rest and then. Where there is a change in the rate of interest other than bank rate. For example, if you are renegotiating the rate, fixed rate of, now the fixed rate of interest point will come. Suppose you have negotiated fixed rate. If you are changing that rate, modification. If you are changing that rate, modification. Suppose you have gone for floating rate. By the contract itself is floating rate contract, in which case interest rate will float. So every time the bank rate goes up, obviously the interest rate also will go up and down. Because you would have negotiated MIBOR, Mumbai Interbank offer rate, plus 10 basis points, 20 basis points, whatever you negotiated. So whatever it is, if the bank rate goes up, if the MIBOR will go up now. So once in every quarter or once in every 6 months, they will revise the rate based on the MIBOR. Whatever it is, that's only because of bank rate, then not a modification of charge. But if you have negotiated a fixed rate and now you are renegotiating it and giving a lower rate or a higher rate, fresh contract, that is a modification of charge. I hope I'm able to clarify. So here floating and fixed rate of interest will become relevant, but nothing to do with fixed charge and floating charge. Please, this is a totally innovative answer I'm hearing for the first time. Fixed charge means fixed rate of interest. Floating charge means floating rate of interest. Wow. Because sometimes, when I read innovative answers by company secretary students and BCom students, I'll be very, very happy to read. Sometimes it'll be very humorous also. I hope not from chartered accountant students. Okay. Where there is a change in repayment schedule. For example, the tenor, T-E-N-O-R, tenor. Tenor means period of the loan. Tenor, both are same. Tenor. Period of the loan. So if you have 36 months, now you are making it 24 months, modification. 36 months, you are making it 72 months, modification, whatever. Where there is partial release of the charge on a particular asset or property, meaning partial release, meaning what? That charge is not being cleared fully. For example, a charge is created on the entire land. Now, you want to sell one portion. So you go to the bank and you tell them, please release only 50 cents. I will pay. And that 50 cents I will give you. You can money, or maybe the total value of the land is big enough. Even if you give this 50 cents, the balance land value is sufficient so that they make it. In that case, a partial release of the charge on a particular asset or property. Somebody is ringing the bell. Just give me 1 minute. I'm so sorry again and again. My colleagues are in another room. They've gone out for a walk. I'm here in a guest house. Anyway, no problem. So good. I hope you have got it. Now we come to pari passu charge. It is important for you to understand what is pari passu charge. There are three types of charge. Okay. When we saw debentures, we might see different classes of debentures, wherein we might have seen first mortgage debentures, second mortgage debentures, first mortgage, second mortgage. What does that mean? I cannot explain it unless I give you a proper example. I will give you. AB Limited has a land, 15 acres land, beautiful property, right in Pune, right in, what is that, airport, near the airport. It is there. It's a beautiful land, piece of land, and they are corporate office is there. Adekar Industries corporate office is there. 15 acres of land plus the 2 acres they have constructed with landscaping and all. The balance is freely available. Now the entire land is worth, for example, 20 crores. For example, entire land is worth 20 crores. 15 acres, 20 crores. I don't know the rate near the airport in Pune, but it must be very high. So per acre, assuming 20 crores, 25 crores, whatever. Now, so they want to borrow money for the factory purpose. So they go to the bank and say, kindly lend money for this. So the bank says, okay, we will lend you, don't worry, for the new expansion, I'll lend you. What security you'll do? No, we will give you the security of this land and building. So take it. How much you want? We want 10 crore. Okay, take it. Because you are a good company, you have done well. Adekar Industries, excellent company. Go on, take the loan, enjoy, go. So they take 10 crore. Land is 15 acres land, 25 crore worth. They have taken only 10 crore and they have used it, doing very well. Excellent profitability, nobody is unhappy. Now they want some more money, right? They go to this bank. This bank has got some problem at that time. They are not processing the loan. And after all, they want only 5 crores very urgently. So Vikram Adekar says, hey, what nonsense, we'll go to some other bank. So immediately another bank comes and says, hey, what 5 crore you want? Your balance sheets are so good, we'll give you, take it. But that land only you have to give as a security. That land already charge is created in favor of A bank. Now B bank is also willing to lend. Now negotiation starts. Vikram Adekar or Adekar Industries says, CFO of Adekar Industries says, sir, we'll give that, but we'll give you second mortgage. We will give you second mortgage. What does that mean? In case the company goes into winding up, then when the land is sold, land and building is sold, let us assume they will realize 25 crore now. First, A bank will get 10 crore, first mortgage holder. Then only B bank will get 5 crore, second mortgage holder. So, first mortgage holder will get priority over second mortgage holder. Are you able to understand this first? So, first mortgage means when the land is sold, I will get the first. Second mortgage means when after the first guy is over, only then I will get. See, in this case, Vikram Adekar is a great guy. Adekar Industries is never going to happen. No problem for me. But suppose Dubakur Limited is coming. They've got an asset worth 2 crore. Fellows are borrowing 50 lakhs on it. Then again, they are borrowing another 50. Like that. But when the asset is actually sold, okay, it realizes only 1 crore or maybe 75 lakhs. 2 creditors are there now. Together, they have to be paid 1.5 crores. The land has realized only 75 lakhs. How to pay? Now, if it is first mortgage, second mortgage, then first guy will get fully. If anything is left over, only the second guy will get. Now, so the second borrower, the second lender will be very particular. He will say, I don't want second mortgage. I want pari passu charge. Pari passu means what? When the asset is sold, whatever is realized, we will share in proportion. Means 25 crore example I'll give you. He has given 10, I have given 5. So 2:1. So I will get 1/3, he will get 2/3. Sell the asset. When you sell the asset, it is realizing, let us say, see, in this case, there will be no problem. Only when there is under realization, there will be a problem. If there is an under realization, then both will get in proportion in pari passu charge. But if it's a first mortgage, second mortgage, Then the first mortgage will get fully. Anything left over, the second mortgage. So, second mortgage holder is in a disadvantaged position. So, when the first mortgage holder, please understand this now. Now come to third point. When the first mortgage holder is ceding a pari passu charge, meaning what? He is giving up his first mortgage and taking pari passu. That is a modification for his charge. I will repeat. A bank has lent money now. I registered that charge na 10 crore ka. There, what was the charge? When I borrowed it at that time, what was the charge? First mortgage. Then the second fellow came, 5 crore. He kept on negotiating. I went back to A bank and I told them, Baba, you are not giving me money. That fellow is giving. At least you give me money, take. Otherwise, allow him to give. You give pari passu. See, these are the type of financial negotiation that you as a CFO will have to do with the banks. So you will wear tie, coat, shirt, and all. Go politely, you will talk to them. Go to Bombay and talk to them, and Saab, you look at it, what to do. You can't be rude with the banker also. So what to do? Finally, you go to the MD and talk to the MD. Then MD will put one small initial and say, give it, take it and go. So immediately you will come rushing back. You would have got an NOC for pari passu charge. With that, you will prepare the documents with the new bank and you will register for him pari passu charge. And for this guy also, you have to now register again. Why? Because the earlier first mortgage is now being modified to pari passu. That is why it's called modification. So I know this is a little heavy topic and it has a lot to do with borrowing, lending and all that. Ceding means giving up. Ceding, C-E-D-I-N-G, means ceding, concede. There's an English word called concede. I concede your point. Means what? I agree with you, or I bow down to you, like that. It's agreeing, or it's surrendering. Ceding is a portion of the land was ceded by that country. Means given up, give up, give, ceding. Good. So this pari passu, second mortgage and all may not come in the exam, but these terms will be used when you become chartered accountants. Very casually, the banker will use. So you have to understand what it is. Here also, you know, if a charge is not registered, what is the consequence we saw? Okay. One more consequence is there. That is, suppose, we'll come to that later. Suppose A charge is created today, B charge is created later, B is registered before A. Please note it, my dear friends. Pari passu charge, whatever charge. No, not pari passu. Pari passu, there will not be any problem. But first mortgage, second mortgage, let us assume A charge, B charge. Now, first mortgage, second mortgage. Second mortgage fellow registers the charge first. Now, the first mortgage guy is late. He registers later. Then the second mortgage right will be superior to first mortgage. The first charge holder will be superior to second. So it is not based on the date of creation of the charge. It is based on the date of registration. So even if you pay additional fee, ad valorem fee, fall at the tribunal's feet and get it registered finally, your security will be there, but your priority will go. So that is another danger for charge holder, which is why be early, register well within the time, whatever money needs to be spent, spend it. Poor company secretary, let him earn money, give him good fees, let him do it. And after hiring that fellow, monitor him, keep on calling, because they are notoriously capable of not doing the job properly. So catch hold of that fellow and shake him and make him do the job. Okay. So where a charge or modification is duly registered by the registrar, a certificate of registration or modification shall be issued by the registrar. Please note, this certificate of registration or modification is the proof. Simply your filing the form is of no use. You have to follow up, get it accepted, get that certificate of registration. Of course, the filing should be done within the due dates. Certificate can be given slowly, doesn't matter. But the job is not over till it's over. You have to get that certificate of registration, right? Now, so certificate of registration will be issued in form number CHG2 as per 77.2 rule. If you want to know, remember, try to remember. Otherwise, no need. Certificate of modification, form number CHG3, section 79, read with rule 6.2. You don't have to go through these forms and all that. Please, there's a whole profession there. Their only job is reading this nonsense. So don't waste your time. Just know, okay, that's all. But more than that, I doubt how many company secretaries will know about this legal aspects. So the principles are more important. Okay. Right. The certificate issued by the registrar under 6.1 or 6.2 as the case may be, shall be conclusive evidence that the requirements of chapter 6 and the rules have been complied with. Okay. So once the registrar signs it, that's it. That's a conclusive evidence. Nobody can question it anymore. And you have to keep it safely. This is the procedural part. We already saw the consequence of non-registration. Right. Now we go to due dates. Time. Company must register the charge. First responsibility, company. If company fails to do so within 30 days, so prima facie, first on the face of it, responsibility company ka hai. The company has to register within 30 days. They have not done it. Then the charge holder may apply to the registrar. In case the charge holder is making the application, obviously the registrar will not register unless the company gives it. So the registrar shall give a notice to the company. But believe me, now the charge, particulars ka charge should be uploaded by both the company and the charge holder. So where the charge holder himself is uploading, the registrar shall give a notice to the company. Because the charge holder may be unilaterally registering something which is not accepted. So they will give opportunity to the company to object. If no objection is received, then the registrar shall register within a period of 14 days after giving notice to the company. So 30 days, then charge holder, once the notice is given, no objection. From the date of notice, 14 days, the charge should be registered. Okay. If objection is received, then if company registers or itself or sufficient cause by which such charge should not be registered is provided, meaning the company may itself say, look here, we will file it ourselves and they will file it. Or they might give sufficient cause why it should not be registered. Maybe the terms and conditions are not as per their agreement and all. There's a dispute. Then the registrar shall not allow registration where the charge is being registered by the charge holder. Okay. Time limit. So this is one thing. Now time limit. Very, very important. Try to remember the time limits. Charge created before 2/11/2018. No need to worry about this. Why? Because they gave maximum period of 300 days of creation. Then they gave 6 months from 2/11/2018, whichever is later, with additional fees. Okay, now friends, 2/11/2018, 300 days, all over. This is old subject. Please do not break your head on this part. This is important. This is for aaj ka hai. Today, charge created on or after 2/11. Because 2/11/2018 only, the new dates were all made final. Okay. Then at that time, they gave an opportunity to all the companies to register under the new law. So they gave enough time. All that. Okay. So we are not bothered about that. That period is over. If you calculate the dates, you will see it's not. So don't bother about that. What you need to bother about it is any charge created on or after 2/11/2018. You should register the charge within 30 days of creation. Charge should be registered within 30 days of creation. We already saw that. If not registered, then it should be registered in the next 30 days. That is within 60 days of creation. This is the period available to the charge holder. Up to 60 days. Next 30 days. There is 60 days of creation, but here you have to pay additional fees. If not registered in the 30 days, then that also missed. Then it can be registered within a further period of 60 days. That is 30 plus 30 plus 60. So 60 plus 60, 180 days. But that further period of 60 days, you can register only by paying ad valorem fees. Ad valorem, I already explained, means based on value. Meaning, normally it will be a fixed fee based on authorized capital of the company. But this case, it will be based on value of the charge. So if the value is more, more. Value is less, less. Ad valorem. This sentence is what I explained. Again, I will explain. Any subsequent registration of a charge shall not prejudice any right acquired in respect of any property before the charge is actually registered. What does this mean? Meaning, where there are two charges, one charge is registered well within the time. Then another charge is registered belatedly. It will not have effect from the date of creation. It will have effect only from the date of registration. So there will be no prejudice for any right acquired in respect of that property before the charge is actually registered. This is a very, very powerful point. So anything done before registration is valid. You cannot say my charge is there, I got it registered. Yeah, you got it registered. When? From that day your charges are not now from the back. So no retrospective effect for charges. From the date of registration only you go back, you go forward. Some example to help you understand. Bank A has advanced rupees 1 crore to Akash Limited against the security of the company's land and building at Mulund. Not a problem. Akash Limited, 1 crore land and building at Mulund. Charge was created by deposit of title deeds. What that deposit of title deeds is there, I'll tell you. Actually, it's called MODD, Memorandum of Deposit of Title Deeds. I'll explain to you a little later. So the charge was created by deposit of title deeds on 1st June 2019. The company did not register the charge within 30 days. Subsequently, the company was registered on 13th August 2019, meaning 30, 60 over. Then after 60 days, within the next 60 days, they have registered by paying ad valorem fees. In the meantime, Bank B has advanced 2 crores. Maybe the property is worth more. Don't worry about that. 2 crores against the security of the same property on 20th June 2019. The charge was duly registered on 27th June 2019. Date is very, very important. Dates are very, 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 very important. So whereas this is ad valorem fees 13th August. This is normally properly registered. Though creation-wise, 20th June is after 1st June. Still, the second charge will get priority. Subsequently, Akash Limited goes into liquidation. Property realizes only 2 crore. Now, who will get it? Bank B will receive its loan back fully. But Bank A will not realize anything because the subsequent registration of the charge in favor of Bank A will not prejudice the right of Bank B, which obtained this right before the charge in favor of Bank A was actually registered. Bank B gets priority over Bank A, even though its charge was created later. I know some of you might find this very, very unfair. You will get angry with us, but what to do? There is nothing about law meant to make you happy. Law is dangerous matter. Please obey the law and don't delay. Please do what the law says. See, many times this government also has a stupid manner of keeping on extending due dates. Every year, the finance minister will come and extend the due date. For some stupid reason, it rained heavily in Mumbai, therefore no extension of due date for the whole of India. Whatever, Kashmir may flood, something, we will give you extension. Whatever nonsense. Okay, so nothing wrong, but most clients, when we tell them, Baba, 30th September is the due date, please be ready, send your accounts for auditing, we are ready. No, Mr. Srikanth, there will be extension. Who told you that there will be extension? This Dolo is telling as if he's cousin brother of finance minister. What is this? Yeah. Finally, the bad thing is we will force them. Some good people will come and get their accounts audited and Pakka they will go. They are the good people. In the long run, they are the good. These criminal fellows who are keeping on delaying, they won't come. Last minute, no extension. Last minute, no extension. We keep telling them, sir, no extension. Then suddenly on 30th September, this fellow will land up with the books of Mr. Srikanth, today is the due date. When are we going to get it audited? Yeah, I told you in April itself, better come. June, I told you didn't come. Now on the last date, you want to come? No, I thought there will be extension. I told you there will be no extension. But the beauty is this extension culture is a very bad thing. When a due date is given, file it on the well before the due date here. See, the 30th of September and 31st of July are only due dates before which you have to file, not on the date you have to file. So I keep telling my clients and my teams also keep on telling them 31st July is the last date. You can file today. If your papers are ready, everything is ready. What is preventing you from filing? Okay. So this is my view on extension. So at least as a chartered accountant, don't hope for extensions. Educate your clients, get all the information, file the returns. Please. No, this is my humble side. I know I'm being very, very old-fashioned and very, very, sort of not at all in tune with the new generation. No, maybe so. See, I was born in 1966. Okay, so in a way, I was also a kind of millennial only. So those people who are already 30 at that time, I mean, when I grew up, there were people who are 50 plus. Buddha hai na? They were not trying to understand me. They were not trying to understand me. I was trying to understand them, adapt and grow in my career. So you see, Mr. Srikanth, we have to understand the millennial mindset. Why the hell? I have experience. I mean, I'm being very, very arrogant here, but think about it. Yes, I have to empathize with his pain as an adolescent, as a young adult. I have gone through it myself. I know what it is. I can empathize with him. I can try to help him understand how to, conquer that part of his life. The same way I did it when I was young, yeah. Who was there to educate me? I had to do it all by myself. And who understood me? Nobody. So nobody will. Mr. Millennial, what millennial mindset here? Boss, 1980, I qualified in 1987. 1985, computers are coming. We saw mainframe computers, PC computers, we saw GUI, we saw object orientation, we saw RDBMS, we saw mobile telephony. We are seeing everything, and everything. Whenever there is a change, we are changing. We are changing. The 50 plus fellas are changing. Whereas the millennials, the first change that happens, they get frightened. Believe me, this laptop is going to go away. I'm going to reach a new technology in the next 5 years when I'll have a small device that I'll carry with me on the wall. I will project and I can do. Then virtual reality. My camera will take a 3D image of me and project me into your house, if you so desire, with my voice. And I'll be sitting in front of you in the chair and teaching. All this is going to happen in your generation. I will be Buddha at that time. But I'm not worried about it. I will adapt to that change also. I'm not worried about change. Okay. And tell me now, who is millennial, who is non-millennial? You tell me. You are taking a technology that is there today and treating it as reality. I am saying this is nothing. It is going to be even better in the next 5 years. Okay, sir, it's not unfair as the former lender also has the right to register. Exactly. Manisha has got the point. Thank you, Manisha ji. You got the point. After all, he had the right to register, but he didn't do so. He can't blame the law for his negligence. Sahi baat hai. I'm so happy. Thank you. Beautiful. Well said. Okay. Registration of charge to act as notice of charge. What does that mean? It means the same thing as constructive notice. Do you understand? The minute a memorandum and articles are filed, they become public documents. Even though a person has not seen them, he shall be deemed to have seen. Constructive notice, same principle applies here. All charges registered with the registrar are public documents. So if a creditor wants to deal with the company, prudence demands that you should go to the MCA website and check. If you have not checked, that is not my problem. Because mere registration means I have given you notice. I am the company, I have given you notice. Where any charge is registered under section 77, any person acquiring such property, assets, undertakings or part thereof, or any share or interest therein, shall be deemed to have notice of the charge from the date of such registration. Now you got the point. Now suppose you have not registered, how I know you are there? So I lent money on that company thinking there is no charge. So I have got better title than you. So if you want your charge to be effective, what you should do? Don't wait for 30 days. Register it immediately, call the company secretary, push him, maybe pay him $5,000 more, make him file your, if that company secretary says, sir, I'm very busy, I've got a lot of clients, then change the company secretary. Yeah? Okay, this guy, if this guy doesn't want to help you, then you go to a guy who will help you. That's all. Okay. So, I mean, sometimes I come off very, very blunt and rough. I know, I'm so sorry, but that's how that life has taught me hard lessons, ma. Okay. I will pray to God that those hard lessons you will never come across in your life. But if you have gone through those hard lessons, you will also become blunt like me, and you will be clear about what is doable and what is not doable, and what has to be done. Hey, karthavya, that which has to be done, you will know and you will do it. Okay. Thus, every person proposing to deal with company should verify by going through the record of charges maintained in the registrar's office before entering into the transaction. In case he doesn't have the knowledge, he can hire a company secretary. I keep on saying company secretary, because they are also our brother in profession. We should help them also. Give them some job, yeah. Come on. Let him also go. In case he enters into the transaction without making any inquiry and later on suffers loss because of charge, he cannot claim the loss from the company, or it shall be deemed that he had notice of charge. So section 80 is very, very important legal point. Moving on. Company shall give intimation to the registrar in form number CHG4 within 30 days of payment or satisfaction. Whenever a charge is paid, then within 30 days of payment or satisfaction, the company shall give notice to the registrar. If not intimated, the registrar may allow giving of intimation within 300 days on payment of prescribed additional fees. So, whenever there is a satisfaction of charge, you should intimate that within 30 days. What is satisfaction of charge? I think somebody was asking that question. Satisfaction means payment or discharge of liability in some manner. Either full payment is there or part payment. He will agree that I paid fully. That's also possible, Baba. You go to the bank and say OTS, one-time settlement, haircut. Take the barber along with you and shave him completely and come. Tell him I won't pay, like that. Section 80 does not use the word constructive notice because constructive notice is a different principle. Okay, in the Act, constructive notice you'll find only in two places. This is one where they'll talk about if it is filed, you are aware of it. Again, memorandum and articles. So on prospectus. So these are the places. So here for charges, they are invoking the principle of constructive notice. Yes. Section 20, Section 80 is principle of constructive notice. Though they have not used the word constructive notice, it is the principle of constructive notice. So registration of charge acts as constructive notice. Now, so any satisfaction or payment or discharge of the security, friends, again remember, there may not be a discharge of loan. There may be discharge of security. That is also satisfaction of charge. I will explain. You had a land. You gave the land and building. Now you want to go to the bank and tell them, sir, I want that land for some other purpose. Please release it. Huh? What will you give in return? I have got another property. Please do the valuation. Okay. You have lent me only 15 crore. Together, both of you have lent me 15 crore. That property is worth 25 crore. This property is worth 20 crore. My Pune, outskirts of Pune, I have a huge factory, 100-acre factory, building, etc., completely stock in trade. Completely, I'll give it to you, ma. You take it. Because I'm going to go for one more unit. For that, I need to offer collateral, this one. So now what you do? You release my Pune property. You take the factory property in the outskirts. You release my Pune property, that Udan Nagar, or what is that property, you release it. And you near the airport, you release it. You take my other factory property, which is on the way, okay, on the main highway, it is there. It is a good property, take it, you value it. Yes. Okay, so one fine morning, documentation is done. This property is released, that property is taken. Now, please note, this Pune property है ना, that airport का आसपास property है ना, that property is now released, meaning that charge is now satisfied, but new charge is now created on the factory property. That has to be registered within 30 days. Are you able to understand? This is not modification. This is clear discharge, because that entire property is now coming out. Partial discharge, then modification. This is complete discharge, and I'm offering another property. Then the charge on the earlier property is discharged. You have to intimate. A new charge is created. Okay, new charge, naya charge, absolutely new. That has to be registered within 30 days on the factory property. 30 days, 60 days, whatever. Have you understood this point? So discharge need not be of the debt. The debt still continues. The debt is still there, but the asset has been released. So always remember, charge, asset, loan, no. Loan will be there. The asset being offered is changed. Then when this asset is removed, that charge is discharged. When the new asset is offered, new charge is created. Please understand the principle. So whenever a charge is satisfied, it has to be intimated. So the registrar on receipt of intimation will send a notice to the holder of charge to show cause within 14 days as to why payment or satisfaction should not be recorded. See, the company is telling, intimation is given by company. The company is telling, I have paid the charge, everything is over. Maybe the documents are forged. I don't know. So the registrar sends a notice to the charge holder. Hey, Baba, this fellow says he's paid you, or whatever he's saying, is it true? Within 14 days, if you don't reply, I will take it that you have no objection. Right? If cause is shown, then the registrar shall record a note and shall inform the company. He will say, boss, that fellow says there is some problem, please go to him. If no cause is shown, meaning they have no objection, then the registrar shall register the satisfaction or payment, issue a certificate of registration in form number CHG 5. Your satisfaction documentation is not complete until you receive your CHG 5 form. Everything should be in the file. Remember, see, future CFO of a company, please, before you take over a company's finances, kindly conduct a review of all these documentation. Please, even once you take over, first weekend, you sit with all the papers or call the company secretary and have a discussion with him. Ask him to show you the paper, original document, show it to me. Go to the registrar website, make him show it to you. Don't believe anybody. Okay? No. So, charge everything. In case there is any lacuna problem, make a note of it. Call for a meeting of the audit committee. Ask CFO, you tell them, sir, these are all things I noticed. There are problems. These are legacy issues. I'm trying to solve them. But future, please note that I have told you this problem is there. This is very important. This is not blame shifting. This is protection, giving them a status account, because you are taking over a CFO. So future any issues, that is yours. But what is that today, you have to tell them and say, and you also have to tell them as a CFO, we are going to take these actions to rectify it and all that. Okay. If you do that, you'll be a superior CFO, ultimate CFO. Okay. CFO of CFOs. That is how the respected professionals in our profession, they are there. They will behave like this only. Okay. So no cause is shown, fantastic. No notice in case of intimation to the registrar is in form number CHG4 and signed by the holder of charge. So if you don't want all this nonsense, you get it signed by the holder of charge also. So both the company and the holder of the charge both sign. Means sign doesn't mean signing in paper now. Nowadays, the minute we use the word sign, it means digitally signed. So the bank officer will use his DSA, a digital signature certificate, and he will upload. You will also upload using your DSC, your company secretary or your CFO DSC, DIN and DSC, and you will finish it. Okay. Charge is satisfied. So we saw the creation of charge. Now we are seeing the discharge. Okay. Okay. Any doubts are there? Kindly ask me now before I move on to the almost last few slides. Actually, honestly, I've come to the last few slides. Any questions are there? You can ask me. Up to now, are you clear with charges? Any doubts? If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Chalo. Now, whenever there is a satisfaction and release, in absence of intimation from the company, the registrar shall inform the affected parties within 30 days of making the entry in the register of charges. This is a different story. You are a company. Thank you, Darshan, to say that you are clear. You are the company. You are acquiring a property. That property is subject to charge. I told you an earlier story, na? Kahani, I told you, what is that? That fellow had borrowed 5 crore, property worth 20 crore. You entered into an agreement. Per that agreement, you are willing to, you paid him 15 crore, or maybe you paid him 10 crore, balance 5 crore, you went to the bank, you told them that you are taking the property subject to the charge. They made all the documentation, etc. You signed it, but that's very ticklish area there. And then you went for registration, you registered the property in your name, same day MODD also registered. The mortgage also registered in your name. I mean, no fresh mortgage, that old mortgage cancelled. Everything happens. Now you are the buyer now. Obviously, that satisfaction of charge needs to be informed to the registrar by that seller guy, right? But he is not bothering. He is simply running away, not bothering. Now you are the interested party now because you are acquiring this property. So that charge has to be discharged because the bankers, bank is now got you as the borrower. Now, so that fellow is released now. So that charge is still there in the MCA record. That has to be removed. So for that, you are filing a CHD4. When you do that, the registrar shall inform the affected parties, that is the other party and the bank, and within 30 days. In case the registrar enters a memorandum of satisfaction in full, he shall issue a certificate of registration of satisfaction of charge in CHD5. That is, he'll give them an opportunity to object. If no objection is there, the satisfaction will be noted. Thank you, Rajini ji, for saying everything is clear. Aisha, sir, how will the charge holder know the company has registered the charge with the register? I think you asked this question earlier also. I'm sorry, Shivam also is asking. How will the charge holder? Sorry, madam, you asked this question earlier. I didn't answer it, please. How will the charge holder know if the company has registered the charge with the registrar or not? Will he be required to go to? Yeah, I told you. I think I already answered this question. You have to hire a company secretary. Then that gentleman will go to the. There's a fees you have to pay. See, you put the skin of that company, and then that company ka complete jatakam will come, kundli will come, everything will come about that company. Then you go through it, including charges. Then you make. Best thing is to hire a company secretary. Fellow will make a report completely. He will give you all the things about that company. That is how you have to come to know. How else will you come to know? You tell me. Okay. Okay. You are a chartered accountant. Will you believe the MCA website or will you believe the company's information? No. Now the topic is not law. The topic is auditing. Which is more powerful audit evidence? Evidence provided by the company or evidence provided by a third party? In fact, this is the real auditing quality. Whenever I'm auditing a company or an entity, yes, I will definitely take a lot of information from the books, from the physical records, etc., vouchers, etc. But wherever possible, where third parties are involved, I would prefer to get confirmation from third parties rather than rely on any statement made by the auditee. This is my humble submission to you because you're all authorities on auditing and SAPs and all that. I don't know, standard auditing. You must have followed standard auditing. Darshan and all must have swallowed the standard auditing practices, and now from here knows everywhere SAP will be coming, I'm sure. But my SAP is very simple. I screw the auditee until I get all the data and I am satisfied that whatever he states in the balance sheet is really true. How I do it is my job, but I will do it. Okay. For that, I will collect audit evidence, preferably evidence that is corroborated by the third party. If so, then GST authority information is better than company information. Na? Same logic. So, third party is independent. More so, you should go to a third party who has a stake. So that fellow will give the reality. Now, why will he agree with the company? MCA. So better to go to the MCA rather than rely on any information. See, if company is giving any information, take it. But counter check it with the MCA. My humble suggestion to all of you. I mean, this goes without saying. I don't see. Sometimes I ask my team, my audit team and all, boss, we are chartered accountants and auditors. We are not paid to believe. We are paid to verify. Okay. Sometimes the client will tell, Mr. Srikanth, you have to believe me. I said, brother, I believe in God, but I don't have to believe in you. You give me documentation, I will. Why believe? I will accept what you're saying. Without document, you tell something. Sorry, boss. I will take it with a pinch of salt. So I am not here to believe. I am here to verify evidence. Okay. I mean, this is a broader point that you as future auditors also will have to keep in mind. In fact, my entire audit activity is slowly improving my satisfaction till finally 95% I'm satisfied, and 5%, inshallah, okay, nobody can tell. I sign, but 5% or maybe, see, that 5 also I want to reduce it. So when I'm signing the balance sheet, 0.1% could be, but maybe materiality issue may be there. That is, there might be something skipped, but it will not be material. That much I can assure. So materiality issue may be there. Good, moving on. If any person obtains an order for the appointment of a receiver or a person to manage the property which is subject to a charge, or if any person appoints such receiver or person under any power contained in any instrument, notice of such appointment shall be given to the company and the registrar along with a copy of the order or instrument within 30 days from the passing of the order. Okay, see, I am told how this 84 is there. Company, see, person obtains an order for the appointment of a receiver to manage the property which is subject to a charge. Whatever it is, his charge, that fellow's right. See, it's simple. There's an unsecured creditor. See, there's an unsecured creditor. Fellow goes to court. Then maybe the company owes him 1 crore. He goes to court. He hires a good advocate, preferably my son or his firm, and they are able to win the case. That itself is very, very difficult. You go and file a money suit. By the time you get the decree, it will be 10 years, 8 years. The company will go on appeal. Yo, good joke. Okay, ma, 8 years after that hard work and after paying the lawyers almost 25 lakhs, fellow gets a decree for 1 crore on the property. Already the property is mortgaged to the bank. So this great human being who went to court and got the decree is now going to appoint a receiver for managing the property. Now, that fellow has to now inform the registrar. Okay, notice should be given to the company and the registrar along with the copy of the order or instrument within 30 days from the passing of the order or making of the appointment. Yeah, agreed. 5% is because of inherent limitation. After all, I am not God. Perfection is given unto God alone. Okay, and that's why I said if it's not material, tell what to do. We are all human. So materiality at least we have to maintain. If there is any contravention of section 86, then there is a penalty. Now, again, for Jasprit Kaur, I have to do this. I have to remove this because otherwise Jasprit will get angry with me. So no imprisonment, nothing. Okay, so penalty for default, company fine rupees 5 lakhs, officer fine 50,000. Though I think for this contravention, not filing charge and all that, the KMP should be put in prison also, according to me. But these fellows went and decriminalized the Companies Act. Quietly they went and said, sir, please remove imprisonment, sir, like that. MCA also, they love the Company Secretary. So they said, okay, my dear, friends, you are all my good friends, Company Secretary, please escape, go, run. Chalo. But chartered accountant, no. That fellow, we catch him, we will put him in jail. After taking so much effort, auditing, etc., one stupid thing, some small thing, negligence, you are not seen like that. Okay. Now, suppose a charge is not registered. So many durations are there, so much time is given, right? 30 days, 60 days, further 60 days, advalaram, totally 180 days given. Still that fellow has been sleeping. Now, what you have to do? The central government can order rectification of register of charges in the following cases. When there was omission in giving intimation to the registrar, where there was omission or misstatement of any particulars in any filing previously made. So where there is genuine omission, you have to give sufficient cause. The central government shall be satisfied that such default was accidental or due to inadvertence. Inadvertence means genuine mistake. Inadvertence means genuine mistake, human error. Inadvertence. Sorry. See, I'm going in the bus. You are behind me. Suddenly I step back without seeing you. I press on your leg. It's not intentional. It was accidental. I didn't really intend. So inadvertence, or because of some other sufficient cause, maybe corona, pandemic. During pandemic, they kept on extension. Finance minister, no, she kept on extending. So there was no. But still, if there is some genuine, MD got corona, then CFO got corona, then successfully they got corona, then they hired a practicing company secretary, that fellow also got corona. So something like that. That is called sufficient cause. Then you can make an application to the central government in form number CHG8. The company or any interested person, even the charge holder can file, and the rectification shall be made by the central government. Rectification meaning what? They will instruct the registrar to rectify. Means if there is an omission, they will say include it. If there is a mistake, they will say allow them to correct it. Okay. Central government under 87 will direct the rectification of omission or misstatement, or direct extension of time for filing satisfaction of charge, etc. etc. Okay. This is beyond the normal due date. Beyond the normal due date, when you are going, they can do this. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult. Okay. You can see this is the final resort. I have not registered. What to do, sir? Like that. Then go under 87. 87, you go to the regional director. 87, central government is regional director. ROC's boss. He will direct you. It's very difficult, costly, not worth it. Don't ever argue that, sir, why, sir? Even if I delay, no problem, sir. Section 87, I can go to the central government. That should be the last resort, and that too, you have to show sufficient cause and also. Please do not encourage that. Section 87 is not an escape valve. It is a difficult route to go. Please don't go there. Friends, as you can see, I have come to the end of the topic. So if you have any queries or questions, you can ask me now. And it will be my pleasure to answer it. See, now we have some free time. Now you ask me any other question also if you want. Other than charges. If you have. Now you can ask me. I give another 5 minutes time. You can think and ask me some questions. I will give you some 5 minutes time to think. Because I was planning to close without break at 8:15 or 8:20. So now the time is something like 8:12. So another 8 minutes to go, or whatever. It's up to you. If you have questions, I would love to answer. Otherwise, if you're happy with the concept of charges, I'll be happy. Very good. I am currently in a place called, I'm now sitting in a guest house in a place called Sirumalai. It is a very small hill station, very, very small hill station in Tamil Nadu, near a place called Dindikkal. There is near Madurai. If you know, I don't know if you know Madurai, that Meenakshi temple is there. This place is near that, Dindikkal, slightly in between Madurai and Trichy. And there's a small hill station here where I just come with my team to relax. I was worried about the connectivity because I'm sitting right on top of a hill. Luckily, Airtel works here. And so, thank God, inshallah, alhamdulillah, everything worked well. Thanks. Sir, if possible, can you go on with some questions? Yes, ma, not today, Darshan. Today, I want to close now. Next session, or maybe the last session of this month, inshallah, I am going to cover all the assignments I have uploaded, except the one on prospectus, which I discussed. All other assignments I'm going to discuss with you. But aaj to nahi, give me that liberty to, my team is waiting for me outside the room eagerly. Okay, because we came here to have a team bonding. So allow me to go. And next, definitely in the next session or last session of this month, I will definitely, I'm planning to discuss all the assignments. I'm going to discuss. Okay, if you have no other questions, and with this promise that I will discuss all the assignments, yeah, not bad, not cold, not warm. It's better than plains, little better. Okay, little better. Good show. Thank you. Wishing you all a happy evening ahead and a good career. Bye.